it feels to me, in my head, it feels like your house is thirsty and you give your house a glass of water. Hi there, and thank you for submitting your essay for assessment at IELTS Juice. Let's go through the rubric first. So it says, in some countries, students live at home with their family while they study at university. Whereas in other countries, students attend university in another city. So the basic concept is, it says in some countries, but frankly, basically it means you have an option of staying in your hometown and go to the local university, which is just, I don't know, a bus ride away, or you may want to live in a different city, but you go to a much better university. Obviously, that's the reason. You don't want to go to another city and study in a lower level university, lower than what you can find locally in your hometown. But that's not the topic here. The topic is we have two options. Either you stay at home and you don't pay rent because you're living at your father and mother's house, or you experience life on yourself. You learn what dormitory is, how people live, things like that. You come across different people with different backgrounds and different cultural backgrounds. So this is going to be an interesting topic. Let's see what the rubrics question part tells us. Do the advantages of living away from home during university outweigh the disadvantages? Very elementary level. This is a yes/no question, right? This is like if I were sitting in front of you and you were listening to me and I was supposed to ask you this question, you would answer immediately by saying, yes, obviously. Like if I were to ask you, do the advantages of I don't know, eating healthy meals outweigh the disadvantages? You would obviously say, yes, the advantages do outweigh the disadvantages. That's why we eat healthy food, because we want to stay healthier in our lives. So this requires a definite answer. We need to take a side. The question clearly wants us to take a stand. We need to say either yes, the advantages outweigh, or no, they don't. And it says advantages, so it's plural. We need to come up with at least two advantages or at least two disadvantages. And based on this initial, observation of the rubric, let's look at the response. Now, students from all around the world attend university abroad. Yeah, that's correct. Living far from home. Okay. Whilst, that's a fancy word, others remain in their home country. I think by others, you mean other students, because others can be like workers, pensioners, children in their home country while studying. We should have started a little stronger. Both benefits and drawbacks. I love the paraphrasing of these two particular words. I love them. I love benefits. I love drawbacks as words. Can be considered by Erasmus students. Okay. Uh, I know what Erasmus is personally. We just take for granted everybody knows what Erasmus is. Okay. That's a risky move. Lucky for you, I know what Erasmus is. Just pure luck. I cannot guarantee some of my colleagues at, for instance, in Australia at IDP would look at it and say, huh? What is this? Let me look it up. Hopefully they do spend time and look it up. Hopefully. I really cannot guarantee that. Anyway, let's look at that was a very small introduction, but it has the elements I wanted. Please bear in mind, I haven't yet received your answer. You just simply said both benefits and drawbacks can be considered. Okay. Of course, there are benefits and there are drawbacks. And you are telling me that first I'm going to talk about benefits and then I'm going to talk about drawbacks. So the order of the information must match the order of the information in body paragraphs. Let's see. Some students decide to study abroad to develop their responsibility skills and their awareness of what being an adult means without parents' help. This is a strong topic sentence. I like it. This I don't like this and because now we are getting too strong. We're let me explain. We're actually saying claiming two elements. One, because they do this because they want to know what responsibility is, develop that skill, and also increase their awareness of adulthood. Those are the two avenues. At least I understand it this way. If it wasn't your intention, then this and must have been something. Again, this element should have been merged into the first one. And when you say responsibility, it must be an umbrella term to cover all the other words and elements beneath it. But to me, this and gives me two completely parallel elements to deal with. As leaving their home, students could need to find a job to economically support their flat, for instance. Okay, I like it. As leaving their home, students, it's a complex structure. Your control over your sentences is high. That's very good. I love this sentence, the complexity and the control over it. This is a little weird. Could need to find a job. It's not English. There is no error here. All the elements can happen, but this is not the way people speak or write. This is not English. Not wrong, but not beautiful either. So just consider this. Could need to find a job. Students have to find a job, are obliged to find a job, has no choice but to find a job. Maybe one of them. Another not very English, economically support their flats. Supporting your flat? Again, grammatically correct, vocabulary correct. But who supports a flat? It feels to me, in my head, it feels like your house is thirsty and you give your house a glass of water. Okay? The grammar is correct. It's present simple. The tense is fine. The subject and verb agree. If your house is thirsty, you can give it a glass of water. If the preposition is fine, everything is fine. But who does that? Who says a sentence like this? Supporting your flat, I understand you mean economically you can pay your rent, but people say they can afford a modest flat, a small apartment, or a room shared in an apartment. They can say things like that, but nobody says this way, at least not to my knowledge. For instance, uh, mm, for instance, okay, the use of this adverb as the end position. End position means you put this adverb towards the end of the sentence. There is no grammatical error here, but this specific adverb usually appears in the middle position, in the middle of a sentence, or at the beginning of a sentence. You as the writer can put it anywhere you want, but you have to have a reason for it. And to me, I cannot find your reason why you put the adverb towards the end. Again, I don't understand. Not wrong, but this is not how a native English speaker would write a sentence, would put, for instance, in a sentence. Let me continue. This way, they are able to learn how to manage money properly. Okay. We are generalizing a little bit, a lot. You know, we're just talking about students, and we're, you know, all students, all of them. Not all, we're specifically talking about those who are, you know, trying to develop their responsibility and skills, and they want to live outside their hometown. Okay. They are able to learn how to manage money properly, having fees or taxes to pay. Fair, fair, a little too generic, but still fair, fair. You know, when we say taxes, fine, fees, fine. You can be here, you can say a couple of examples. For instance, registration fees, tuition fees, your stationery fees, maybe your book club fees, library costs, I don't know, membership fees, registration, courses, I don't know, fees. You can come up with one item here. Use your range of vocabulary at points like this instead of generalizing. It's an opportunity for us to show how well we can write, what range of vocabulary we can bring to the table. This could be difficult to learn when studying at home, as students have their parents managing all bureaucratic issues. I admire your, you know, audacity, because this is a tough word to spell. I understand that. However, it is an error nonetheless. You will be penalized for that. Moreover, it's becoming more and more essential. We have a little bit of overuse. Moreover, it's becoming more. It is becoming already means more and more. And we keep saying more and more. After that, moreover, it's just a bit too much. It's more essential to be able to speak foreign languages. We didn't talk about this here, did we? Maybe it is again under the responsibility and some skills. Yes, or awareness of being adults. We didn't talk about languages and foreign languages as being part of either responsibility or being an adult. I wish in the topic sentence we could connect this directly. I know we can somehow connect it a little bit to skills, but that's a stretch and that's difficult. You are asking the reader to write in their heads. Our job is just to read what you wanted me to see. And there are elements here that I cannot see. I wish they were here to see, but they're not. And studying abroad is the best way to improve communication skills in a non-mother tongue language. Well, not a very common structure. You are showing off your compound noun clauses or adjectives. So you group them together, you hyphenate them. I get it. You have some skills. However, non-mother tongue language, if you look at the reality, we only have one mother tongue. I mean, in many cases, it's very hard to have two mother tongues. It's very hard, or rather, maybe rare. Usually people have one mother tongue. Um, Growing up, they learn other languages. Either they pick up or they go to school to learn. Either way, well, yeah, it's a bit weird. Indeed, students choose where to study according to which language they want to master. Hmm. Indeed, students choose where to study according to which language they want to master. Can you explain? No, we're done. Period. No examples. No further information. Um, we just opened a new chapter, a new topic, but we didn't give it proper development. It's over, finished. Okay. Moving on to the second body paragraph, which I guess is going to be about the negative side. On the other hand, makes sense. Living away from home could be hard for those who struggle to build social relationships and make friends. Students generally live alone. Aha, Erasmus came back for Erasmus without friends. So they need not only to adapt to new circumstances and cultures, but also to meet new people. Okay, at this point, we should start giving some examples, but because so far we've had so many generic sentences and words, especially among teenagers. Okay, why especially among teenagers? It is some teenager. Why teenagers? Yeah, that's a very narrow segment. We're talking about 18-year-olds who are going to study at a university, maybe smart 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds. Yeah, very narrow margin. It is sometimes difficult to live outside the comfort zone, since this means not to have any point of reference, like family or friends. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy with this uh, order and chain of sentences. And uh, this is a formal writing piece. Task 2 is a formal response. And it's not uh, informal, it's not spoken, we're not speaking here. We cannot start a sentence with and. This can negatively affect their experience since I don't need any punctuation mark here, since they won't live it at the best. For instance, some students could feel alone away from home, avoiding hanging out with friends and living the funny side of their experience. Is this an example? Are we talking about a certain activity or a certain location or time or a place? What does it mean, funny side of their experience? What's that? Hanging out with friends, what does it mean? We can give an example. This, I understand. Things appear in my head. Going out in somebody's car, eating a pizza out, going to a cinema. I understand. But why don't we make those examples so that it actually becomes an example? We are, again, not giving an example. We are just explaining. Example means you point at a certain item and you show it to others as, hey, look at this. This is an example. That's how we present examples. Here, this discourse marker is not appropriate. We are not giving an example. I can replace this with moreover, and nothing will happen. To conclude, I think that both pros and cons are valuable when deciding whether to study abroad or in their home country. Okay? However, the disadvantages are easily overcome. So it is passive voice, and the disadvantages are overcome, meaning advantages are higher, disadvantages are lower, disadvantages are overcome by advantages. Advantages are the winners. Before as creates complex sentences, we don't need any punctuation here. As students can quickly get used to their new lifestyle away from home. We have this away from home multiple times. Again, yeah, repetitive. I'm sure I've seen it, uh, you know, uh, in maybe one more time. You see, yeah, away from home. So again, repetitive. Yeah, the repetition shows that the range of vocabulary and structures is not ideal. Anyway, 307 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. So in task response, we finally answered by saying that yes, advantages, pros are higher than disadvantages or cons. Fair. Were there instances we needed to develop our points further for somebody like me to understand? Yes, absolutely. And it requires more development so that it doesn't become unclear. It should become 100% clear. Every single point we make. The connection between the points is also another important element. I saw the logic in the organization, and it was throughout. Paragraphing was not eight because the idea of a paragraph was clear. Yes, like the pros had their own paragraph, cons had their own paragraphs, but inside the paragraph we needed more work, especially cohesive devices. And it's very important when we talked about, when we generalize which type of students, who we are talking about, the part that I said others, like others, which are who, which one. It's very important who we are referring to. As for vocabulary, I told you that IELTS acknowledges the attempts to write less common lexical items, but there are inaccurate parts. So sorry, but good news is that they do not impede communication. So I was able to understand the messages very well. And as for grammar and grammatical range and accuracy, well, errors, there were no tangible errors. The majority of sentences were grammatically okay, but they weren't English. So the message was a little bit weird. And I was able to understand, but with, I had to analyze a bit. I had to become a writer myself and fill in the blanks to be able to make some sense out of a sentence. And I'm sure I'm not 100% accurate here. I'm sure there were moments that you were screaming at the monitor saying, no, that's not what I meant. Well, this is the whole idea of writing. A good writer can communicate effectively with their audience. And that's why we're here. That's why we're practicing our task twos and maybe task ones. So hopefully next time I'll be assessing task twos or task ones from you. Until then, take care.